Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Mini Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out Lovely Planet by developer Quick Tequila and publisher Tiny Build. You've probably seen some screenshots floating around on this one lately, and I wanted to take some time and make a video for you because this is one game that's very hard to pin down on what exactly it is without someone explicitly telling you or actually playing it yourself. So if you're wondering, Lovely Planet is a hardcore speedrun-oriented first-person shooter/platformer with the design ethos of Katamari Damacy, and I know that sounds like a lot to take in, and it kind of is a lot to take in, but I do want to say right off the top, I really like this game. I've spent maybe about 40 minutes with it so far, and I'm already very much engrossed and want to play this quite a lot. And I have a feeling for anybody out there that has any kind of semblance of interest in speedrunning, I think you're going to really get into this one, well, provided you can handle, you know, the 60 frames per second 3D motion action and not get motion sick or anything like that. But, you know, that doesn't really bother me and hopefully doesn't bother you either. But let's look at the options before I take you through what exactly Lovely Planet is going to be focusing on from a moment-to-moment basis. So let's look at our options, noting there are some caveats to this game. It's not perfect by any means. There's certainly some things that I have some criticisms over, but on the whole, though, I really do enjoy it. First criticism, though, I'm using a keyboard, not my gamepad, and doesn't seem like the options in the UI actually seem to adapt to that, unfortunately. So if I want to go to my options, instead of hitting Y, I actually need to hit escape. You know, no big deal. I mean, I can figure out my way around through it. It's just, it doesn't feel entirely complete, especially since it's a first-person oriented game. You know, it's a fast game, and it kind of relies on you being really accurate, where a controller would probably not really get the job done as well as a mouse and keyboard. In my opinion, I don't mean to start any kind of arguments in the comment section. Anyway, let's look at the options. This is actually not correct. I have this set to 1280 by 720 right now, but the resolution stayed that way for whatever reason. Alright, those are all of our resolution options. We've got music on, sound effects on, no sliders or anything, they're just toggles. And then sensitivity and look invert are the only two options. This started out defaulted to like 20 or so. You'll probably want to crank this up quite a ways if you're trying to use the mouse and keyboard, which I do recommend doing. Although, the other caveat here is I don't think there's any way to rebind controls, which makes me super sad. Not that they're particularly bad or anything the way they are, just I really like having that kind of granularity in the options. But anyway, let's start out on the first levels here in City. And I'll show you what exactly we're getting into. So, there is a bit of Japanese writing in this game. I can't actually read any of it. If you guys want to, feel free to translate any of this stuff. Go right ahead. There is a scorecard, though, at the top. And what this is telling me is there's 3 available stars. And I've got a record of 8 seconds, 0.15. And the world record is 7.54. So I need to trim a little bit more time off this, and this is where this game really shines. It starts out super easy, introduces elements little at a time, and as you play more and more, it's going to get really wild. Not only really difficult, but also really complex in a way. So you gotta start out with a frame of mind of, like, just go fast, and eventually you'll sort of adapt to how you need to react to certain situations. And there's not a lot in the way of these cutscenes or anything, so don't worry. It's a pretty much uninterrupted trip from point A to point B once we start things. Although there may be some sort of cutscenes between chapters or anything. I haven't actually finished the first one, despite having played a little bit of the second one. I did jump around a little bit here. Alright, so this is the majority of the perspective that we're going to be seeing for this game, is our character running around with this rifle with a crazy pointy star around it, and we can shoot as many bullets as we want by left-clicking, we can jump with spacebar and run around with WASD, and we're in a permanent sprint state. So the basic conceit here is we need to just run from the beginning of the level, shoot some of these red things as they're in our way, and it's tutorializing to tell us, and again, using controller options or controller keys here, which again is a little strange to me, but we just want to walk into this pillar. That's our exit, and that is a terrible time. So now we're going to take what we know about the game, apply it, and do it again, and run a little bit faster, and maybe jump over some rocks, and probably not stop to gawk at the environment at all this time. There we go, a much more satisfactory time, although not a world record by any means. Not even my own record, but I'm satisfied with it for now, because this is just the introduction first level where we're not even really fighting anything or doing anything particularly strange. Alright, so now we add the element of destroying the baddies. This guy here is very angry. He doesn't really bother you, though. He just kind of stands there, and you could even run into him if you want. He doesn't really care very much, but we'll do our job and we'll shoot him. And we'll actually hit R to reset, so I can now run through this level a little bit faster. And there's another one. There is also a score that they judge you on for accuracy, too, so you do want to try and hit them as quickly as possible, but I don't think it really makes any difference to your score. And you'll notice that second baddie actually did shoot back at me, so they're already introducing a second type of baddie in the freaking first level that we're fighting anything in, which is kind of funny. So that brings me to my next point. Shooting, obviously very central to this premise, and it's kind of funny because the way that this perspective feels to me seems a little bit weird, and I'm probably going to get used to it after I play this for hours and hours, but right now I feel like the gun is very low in the perspective of the character. I feel like it doesn't really necessarily give me a good indicator of where the shots are going to end up when I'm moving at such high speeds, although I am already starting to adapt to it slightly. That's what happens, by the way, if you get shot. You just get reset, you get one hit per level, and that's it. There's no messing around with that type of thing. But I kind of wish there was an option to toggle a crosshair on or off. I have a feeling it's probably a design choice that they made it that way, but I kind of wish there was anyway. Even if it was like, you get a little X next to your name that you use cheat mode or something, just to sort of get you familiarized, or maybe just for the first chapter or something, and then maybe they could take it away. And then, now that we've got the running, jumping, shooting, all of those elements are starting to get formed, we'll actually add some more interesting and strange level designs, and eventually we'll actually get the freedom to kind of come up with our own way to get through a level, and this was not a good representation of that, actually. I think that this level is the one that I first discovered quite how speedrunny this game is. And I think what we need to do here, and this is how I got my best record. First I want to take you through how this normally gets played. We're going to walk through it here. We see an enemy, and we're going to shoot it, and then we're going to see another enemy, we're going to shoot it, and we're going to take care of these, we're going to walk up to the post, and that results in an awful time. Now we're going to reset, and I'm going to show you how you go through this quickly. So behind you is actually a fence with a hole next to it. We can run and jump through that. Then we're going to make our way over here, having shot this guy on our way over, of course, and I'm just going to spam bullets. You can see you get little stars around your weapon when you shoot them successfully, so you can tell when you're off-screen, or it's off-screen, that you actually did make that shot successfully. And then we've gotten all of the baddies, then we would jump to the pole there. Now, one of the issues that I have with the way that this all handles is the speedrunning feels great when it works really well. Occasionally, though, you make a mistimed or strange jump, and then the gravity thing comes into play, because the gravity in this game is extremely heavy, and you can't jump when you're in a state of falling, obviously, so if you end up in this little crook next to the rock, you've just kind of screwed your run. Thankfully, this whole run takes like 8 seconds, so you can reset indefinitely, but you have to be very careful about your positioning and your angling, because it's not very forgiving when you make a little mistake like that. So now let's try and do it actually fast. Hopefully, no, I didn't get the shot. Nope, fell back. Get that guy, still didn't get him, do it again. Yeah, oh, alright, that time I got him, but I got stuck on a rock. And I think part of the fun for me... Oh, I missed the baddie at the end. Part of the fun for me is plotting out the speedrun routes as you try to go quickly through these levels, because it feels really nice when you make a strategy and you actually execute it properly, and then you're rewarded with, you know, the appropriate number of stars and all of that. Feels really nice. So that was 6.51, and my record being 6.31, and then the world record being 5.10. So there's definitely some competition elements to this. I certainly would love to have a world record in a few of these levels, and I'd also love to see a leaderboard up against my friends' times, but unfortunately I don't seem to see that feature anywhere. So it's another little thing that seems like it's maybe missed, as far as like a missed opportunity goes. Now this level is almost like easier to do the wrong way, but I'll show you how to do it the right way, and then I'll show you my strategy. So they want you to hop off of these platforms, and they want you not to shoot the platforms by accident, because if you do, they actually disintegrate, and then you can't jump over them anymore. So there we go, we've crossed over all of those, and that leads us to the finale at the pole, and there we go. What does that give us for a score of 15 seconds? Alright, that's not so good. So now we're gonna... Oh, I actually meant to not do that. Let's go back out, and we'll go back to the prior level, which was this one, I think? Yeah. Alright, so we want to go up here first, and I'll show you the slow version, and then I'll try and execute it more quickly. Shoot this guy, jump over here, shoot that guy, jump up on this hill, and you can kind of go out of bounds a little bit, which is fantastic. It lets you come up with your own strategies and then jump back over to the pole. And that's how I was able to get my best time, which is 8.06. Now let's try and do that a little bit more quickly. Now I haven't even really mentioned the fact that this game looks and sounds so fantastic, and that is part of the hook, right? That's what gets you in the door. This game, like I mentioned, really does borrow the design ethos of Katamari Damacy. It's extremely cutesy. It's got like a flat-shaded, rainbow-colored, psychedelic aesthetic to it, and I really, really like how abstract and crazy it is. In general, it just looks really lovely, and, you know, lovely planet, right? And the soundtrack really goes very well for that, and I have a feeling they were at least inspired by Katamari, because this sounds like a track that could be right out of that actual game. Another one of my minor criticisms, though, is that I feel like the songs don't seem varied enough. There are a few different tracks, but it seems like we're stuck listening to this one for a very long time. Whereas with Katamari, you kind of just freely move in and out of a soundtrack that's just kind of always playing. And I think they did a great job not to, like, reset the soundtrack every single time you restart a run, because that would get really annoying really fast. But it does give you this feeling of, like, since there's no loading times and the song is always going, you're just always in this perpetual state of, like, can I improve on my times? And it just kind of leads to this addictive nature to this, where you can get trapped in this endless loop of playing the same level over and over again, which, as far as getting good value proposition for your dollar, seems like a very good idea, and I really don't have any problems with any of that. Honestly, I just wish there was more song in general, just more music, because I really love it. It sounds great, just give me more. So let's go on to the next one. This is kind of a funny trick. So they start you out facing in the wrong direction, introduce this character here, who is a hostage or like a innocent civilian, and when you shoot them, it actually kills you, so you have to not do that. So if you see the navy blue ones, just avoid, don't engage. So they want you to go here first, and then when you get over to this side, go around this fence. Wrong way. And there's also a fish floating over there. So the point of them teaching you about that I just went the wrong way is because actually they want you to turn around and notice that X or R actually will restart your game, so you can actually just, you know, kill your run real fast, which is something that you'll do constantly. Now this one, here's the slow way. We're going to go over all these platforms. We're going to shoot this guy over here. You can actually hold jump, by the way, and continuously jump, which can be handy in a few situations. They actually teach you to do that in one of the levels coming up. And this is going to be slow time. I'm not trying to go fast here, really. I'm just trying to get through it. There we go. We'll get to the pole, and there's the end of that. Restart, turn around, turn the other direction. Shoot this guy as soon as possible. Get up on this rock, get up on this hill, and watch for gravity, because if I don't get this jump right, we're going to fall down. Go around this, jump over to the right. Shoot this guy as we go down, and that's a much better time. And I don't think that's going to be a world record or anything, but is closer to my last record, so I'm pretty happy with that. And next level, what do we have here? I don't think they introduce a ton of crazy things for a couple levels. I think this is mostly like, let's just reinforce shooting enemies that are getting progressively more aggressive. Because eventually they introduce this element where there's going to be these apple water balloons that are going to be falling, and if you don't shoot all of the apples as they're in the air, you always die no matter what. And I was totally confused and flummoxed by this. I went on to the last stage of Chapter 2, and there was like 5 apples thrown in, maybe it was more like 3, but they were in random spots in the level, and I was like, I don't know why I keep dying, because nothing's hitting me. But that's why, you gotta shoot the apple water balloons, obviously. And when you're dealing with very abstract gameplay concepts like this, you definitely do need to have them tutorialized, so I kind of do recommend probably not skipping around much until you've actually gained some mastery with each one of the premises that they're going to introduce as we go forward. And they do really diversify how things go. Eventually the levels get very complex, and I do appreciate that, because it gives the games like a ton of longevity, especially when there's over, I think they said over 100 levels. So there's a lot to it, and the game is not even that expensive. Right now, it's on sale at the time of this recording going up for $5.09 on Steam, but it's 15% off. So when it goes off of sale, it's going to be $6. That's really not a lot for what you could get easily, probably 20, 25, 30 hours or more out of this, if you're persistent and want to keep playing over and over again, which hopefully you do. I think by this point you have a good idea of what you're going to expect from Lovely Planet, and I should probably skip forward just to show you how hectic and wild these levels get. The difficulty might actually prove to be my undoing as we get further into the levels, because it did seem like it might have been a little bit over my head, but I'm also going to chalk that up to me just not having proficiency in the patterns yet. I think when I just get better, it's going to make it a lot easier. Alright, so now we've got some fences. I'm going to try and go a little bit of an unconventional way. Oh, that didn't quite work. Let's go over here. Shoot this guy, get this guy as we go past. Hopefully there wasn't anybody on the other side of that fence. That was a really early jump, but I actually pulled that off. And did I win? You can actually just click here to make the timer just jump to the end. Oh yeah, actually, not only did I win, I actually got a new high score. So next run, if I do this level again, where it says 14.53, it'll be replaced with my 13.84, and we can inch lower and lower towards the world record, hopefully. As far as the stars go, I'm not sure if there's any actual tangible benefit to them. It's not like there's unlocks or anything, and as far as I can tell, there's not like other guns or other stuff like that. So it's mostly just about mastering the concepts that they give you as you play through this. It's not like there's much in the way of progression other than self-imposed progression, which I don't think a lot of people should probably have a problem with. But it might not be for everybody, and obviously this game isn't for everybody, but for those it is for, I think we'll really, really enjoy it, because there's not really much else like it out there. It's like the 10-second ninja of first-person shooters, I guess you could say. Because there's not really a whole lot else like that either, except there are a lot more platformers that you can speedrun, or that are catered to speedrunners than there are first-person shooters, I suppose. Although, I guess, try telling BizSnap that with his Dishonored runs, right? So that was a new record, 10.60. Not bad. Still, long way to go on getting the world record on that one. I think the trick for that... Oh, well, I meant to retry that, but there's actually a rock that I think you can jump up on and go over the fence, so hopefully if you're just really well timed with that... Oh, alright, we've got water balloons in play. And, okay, just shot one. I was thinking maybe it was going to shoot another, but see, as long as you find it ahead of time, you do have ample time to shoot it while it's still in the air, and I missed, so I actually just automatically die there. So it's a test of your accuracy, as well as your ability to prioritize targets. And this is another case where, again, I feel like having a crosshair would really come in handy, since we're constantly shifting our frame of view. Being able to just have something to isolate that on would really make a big difference. And really, all I need is just a little, like, 4-pixel dot in the center of the screen would actually go a pretty long way. But again, I don't know if that was a design choice, and I think it probably was. It's not like they probably didn't think of, hey, we could add a crosshair to this. I'm sure they thought of that. Alright, so now we can actually look ahead by pressing F, and this is going to give us a like a preview of what's ahead as we move through this, and we can click on each one of these stopping points. I'm not really sure this feature is super necessary. I would much rather have had leaderboards, honestly, because if you really want to keep trying a level, just run through it a bunch of times, and you'll be able to figure out what you're supposed to do after a while. I mean, I guess it's probably more necessary as you get into levels that are, like, multi-tiered and more vertically oriented, since a lot of the time maybe you won't even know where you're supposed to head at any given point. But, again, I think part of the routing is, like, a big part of the fun for me, so... not that I think that takes much away from it, it just seems kind of, like, superfluous when there are other features that I think were maybe more necessary, personally. Alright, so that was not the best run, but I'll just let that one go. So this is the one where they want us to press and hold jump. So I'm just going to press and hold jump like they recommended. I do still need to moderate my ability to go forward, otherwise I'm going to end up falling off of things. We've got a couple of moving jelly blobs. That was a terrible jump. We actually need to time that much better. And thankfully I didn't shoot that platform. I would have shot it right out from under me. And where is the... Oh, there it is. The pole. Oh god! I freaking got hit by that guy at the very last second. I didn't realize this level was so long. And of course, the smart thing to do here would be to look for new ways to navigate this, and probably going over that hill would be a good start. I just need to figure out how to actually execute. Alright, so that, and then up here. There we go. Like I said, the gravity is really funny, so if I get too close to the edge of one of those hills, I'm just going to slide right off. Which gets to be a little bit frustrating if you miss that a few times. Oh, get up there. I gotta be quick on the draw with these guys. They're often shooting at me before I even notice that they're there. Oh, I just realized the exit is like right at the part where the actual beginning was. So I wonder if there's a way to kill all the enemies and get to that pole without having to do that loop. I'm not sure. Let's do one more level and I think we'll just call it on Lovely Planet. Again, highly recommended. Ah, I killed one of the civilians by accident. I'm calling them civilians. I don't know what you want to call them. Call them whatever you want. But gotta be accurate. Shoot the apple balloon. Shoot the red thing as I fall. Go around the corner, get this guy from a distance. Uh-oh. Alright, we made it. Game is super smooth, by the way. Oh, jeez. If you had any doubts, it runs at a locked-in 60 frames per second. I think it is highly necessary that it does. If you had any trouble with frame rate, I think this game would be nigh impossible to be able to track properly. You need to be able to see and manage like 100 different things all moving at different trajectories at the same time once you get into the further levels. Right now, we're still in basic elements, and I'm still having trouble with it, so difficulty's definitely there for those who want it. And I guess, if anything, that becomes my biggest criticism or question, I guess, to everybody, is does the cutesy kind of nature to this kind of seem a little bit at odds with the concept of the game. Not that I feel like it necessarily can't do that and still be valid, and I'm not even calling that into question. I just wonder if that might put people off, that they see this and they go, oh, well, this looks like it would be super accessible to, like, little kids or something. And then you get into it and it's like, oh, well, I can't beat, like, after the first chapter. Well, I guess it's kind of forgiving in that you can actually finish levels with pretty bad times. You just don't get high rankings on them, I guess. So it's not like you completely would lose even if you don't do well on a level, if that makes sense. So there we go. How did I do? 16.6 and 15.88. Okay, well, there we go. Not fantastic, not terrible. And that was most of the first chapter, but there's still a little bit left to go. 20 levels in that chapter, so I guess 5 chapters, 20 levels each. And they get very, very difficult. So there we go. Village. You know what? The stars probably open up each next area. You probably need a certain amount of stars to get to the next one. That makes a lot of sense, right? I don't have any evidence to prove that, but that's just sort of my guess here. Again, played under an hour so far, although with this video, maybe just cracked an hour with it. But that was Lovely Planet. Again, highly recommended if you're into this sort of thing. If this looks entertaining to you based on what you saw here, go give it a buy. It is totally, well, it's totally a Nick game. Hopefully it's totally a you game as well. And let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions on this one, because it is certainly far out of the box for things that seem to exist in the Steam space, at least that I've been able to find. So I'd love to hear how you react to it, if this is something that looks cool to you, if it looks like it's frustrating or anything like that, or if the colors are putting you off, or if the music is too repetitive, because honestly, like 20 levels listening to the same track, I really think they should have had it every 10 or so change over. Or at least just had a playlist that it goes through or something like that. But maybe they'll add stuff to it later, I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like on it. It helps me out a whole bunch. Also, if you're enjoying what you find on the channel, consider subscribing, because that also helps me out a ton. And then you'll get a new notification for each Indie Impressions and other episodes that go up on my channel. And I do post these every single day, so if you like weird, artistic, original, and unique indie games, this is the place for you. Come hang out. New episodes every day. I'll see you back for another one tomorrow, and I'll talk to you later.